Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Farzin Maziani. And I'm so happy that you are here and said yes to our episode. I have to laugh because I trained. No, I didn't train to pronounce your name, but you told me, and I hope I did it right. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Caroline. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wow. And I would love to introduce you to our audience, of course. You are an award winning author, holistic wellness practitioner, and transformational alignment coach. You help high achievers avoid burnout and succeed with joy and ease instead of hustle and grind. So they can enjoy the journey. You are located in Toronto, Canada. I love that. I'm in Germany. We are connected all over the world. And my first question is, what inspires you on a daily basis and what inspired you to do what you are doing now as a coach?
Sure. It goes back to the time that I was 12 years old, many years ago. I was 12 and I wasn't satisfied with my life. On the outside, everything was fine, but something was missing inside. So I was looking for that element of joy in life, element of passion, and those kind of things. And so I went to a extensive search to find the joy element within me. So at the time, there was no internet, there was no YouTube, there was no information that easily accessible. All we had was books. And then I went through many books. In the period of 12 years, I went through 20 different paths and thousands of books. I have more than 1,000 books in my personal library, actually. So I was looking for that joy element as a seeker. But after all, I was even more frustrated because I couldn't find it on the outside world. So I decided to make a radical decision. I went to a room. It was a windowless room. I closed the door, turned the light off, and I said to myself, I'm going to stay here until I find that source of wisdom and enlightenment and so on within me. So when I came out of that room, I noticed that it was close to 5 days that I was there. And so it was absolute darkness and absolute silence. All I had was me and my thoughts. So I had to face myself. And something magical happened that caused me to get out of the room. That was as I was sitting in there and in the absolute darkness, I noticed that there is a warm feeling in my heart. It was like a flame, and then it spread throughout my body, and I felt that my cells are burning or something like that. I was getting warmer and warmer. I was sweating badly, and then I was shaking, and all of a sudden there was light and there was heavenly music inside. So I felt a sense of joy that I never experienced before in my life. And it was life changing. It was one of those breakthroughs that I had. So I didn't need to stay in that room anymore. I came out and I felt connected with everything and everyone. That was quite an experience. And so what I found was the source of joy is inside, it's not outside. I was looking for it on the outside, on different paths and in the books and so on, but I couldn't find it. And the other thing that I found was the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Because before that, I was looking into the books and the material and so on, and it was just knowledge that is result of whatever we have in our brain or something like that. We bring it down and put it on the piece of paper, we call it a book, and it is knowledge. But wisdom is from inside. Sometimes you get an idea, and that idea can be $1 billion idea, because you can change the world with that, just a small idea that is coming from inside. So I always say that we are one idea away from being a billionaire. Something comes and you act on it, and then everything changes for you and for the world. It's not that hard, but we need to open our heart to be able to do that. So how so something else happened a few years after that. The second breakthrough that I had, the second breakthrough was like this. I injured my back at work, and it was a bad injury. I went through the therapy and so on, but the pain stayed with me for 15 years. It was a chronic pain. So I would get frozen neck and upper back. I had to go to therapy almost every week. Nobody could help me. All the specialists that I go to would check the exams like MRI. They couldn't see anything. They couldn't find anything. They couldn't find a muscle that is pulled or something like that. Nobody could find the source of the problem that I had. Medications wouldn't help. So I was frustrated. And a friend of mine came over and we were talking, and she said that maybe I can help you. And I was suspicious at first, but I didn't have any choice. So I said, yeah, let's try it. So she gave me a couple of phone calls, and she released the trapped emotions that I developed during that accident that caused the injury. So, trapped emotions are unprocessed emotions. Sometimes we have an emotion and we don't process it fully, and then it gets stuck in our body. We carry that emotion with us for a lifetime. And as long as it is there, it is causing some problems. So, she released those trapped emotions, and then she said that you're going to be fine. So I thought next week I'm going to go to therapy again, but it never happened. So I was completely cured from that 15 years of pain. So I was wondering what happened. And during the session that I had with her, she said that I see that you have the talent to do the same thing for other people as well. So that was another breakthrough. And so I started learning about emotion code under Dr. Bradley Nelson, and became a practitioner and help other people. And I found about heart wall as well. Heart wall is a chamber that we create around our heart, and it separates us from life. So what is the process? It is something like a defense mechanism that we have. Sometimes we are under grief experience, or um, relationship problems, and so on. And we have to protect our heart because our heart is very sensitive. And so, in order to protect it, we use the trapped emotions to build a chamber around our heart to protect it. That is developed unconsciously by our subconscious mind. So we protect our heart in that moment, but we keep that heart wall. And that is the element that separates us from ourselves and from our others and from life. It's like living in a bomb shelter 10 years after the war is over. We are still living in that bomb shelter. And it's a self-made jail that we are living in. And more than 93% of people have the heart wall. And on average, every person carries about 200 of those trapped emotions. So it is affecting our life. It is not something that we can ignore, but not many people know about it. And So I started working on people, and when I dismantle the heart wall for somebody, their life changes because they shine, they can do the things that they want to do, they find their life purpose, and they are aligned with life and with themselves and others. It's a life changing experience. So I had another breakthrough after that as well. So the third one, third in a row. The third one was when I broke my shoulder when I went to skiing and I fell down. I broke my shoulder and I went to the surgeon, and surgeon said that I've seen this kind of fracture only in car accidents. How did you manage to break your shoulder? And I told the surgeon it wasn't even a big accident. I was on a flat surface, nobody was around me. And after 40 years of skiing, I'm a good skier. I don't know what happened. I just fell down and I couldn't move my left arm. And so the doctor said that I cannot do it much. It has to be cured by itself because I can't cast it. So he gave me a lot of painkillers, strong ones, because I was in a lot of pain. And so I went home and I said that this is the moment that I have to face. Life is giving me something. I can either look at it as a curse or a bad thing, or I can look at it as a gift that is wrapped in an ugly paper. So I chose the second one. I said it's a gift. So how can I use this gift? I said to myself, I cannot use my left arm. It's useless for 6 months. What can I do with my right arm? So I started writing the book that was overdue for a long time, that was within me. So I started writing, and something magical happened again. The third breakthrough was, soon as I started writing, I forgot about pain. I was writing for 12 hours, 14 hours without feeling the hunger, without feeling to go to sleep, without feeling the pain. So I said to myself, I know about the flow state, being in the zone, but I never had this much direct experience about it. So, long story short, I wrote my book in a couple of weeks, produced a lot of writings in that time, and then sent it to the publisher. And the publisher said that we cannot fit all that in one book. Maybe it's a sequel or something like that. But they made me to go through editing process. So editing took me longer than writing the book for me. And then it was published very fast. So those three breakthroughs that I had shaped my the way that I'm living right now.
Wow. This was so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. And you already talked about people that helped you, one coach or a mentor. Who was the best coach you ever had? I mean, who inspires you? Are there people today in your life helping you?
Yes, so I think uh, there is something like plus factor. Plus factor means we there's always something more to learn, to experience, and to develop. So it is not a solid things that we say that I reached the end. There is no end. There's always something. So I always move forward, because that is, even the title of my book is Joyful Fix: How to Break Free from Stagnation and Move Forward in Life. So moving forward is important to me. It means that we are expanding. There are two elements in a higher consciousness: one is joy and the other one is expansion. So we have to consider that expansion. We cannot stand still because life is moving forward with a specific pace. So if I stand still, it means that I'm moving backward compared to life. So we have to find ways to be able to move forward all the time, so we can be inspired, we can get inspiration from people around me, around us all the time, or the situations or the experiences that we have in life. Everything can be a source of inspiration. There's no limits.
Absolutely. And this leads me to my next question. How do you inspire other people? Of course, we witness it now in our interview. You are very inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing. How are you doing this?
So sometimes all it takes is the change of definition. Because I always say, change your definition, change your life. How I inspire people? I just bring proper information about whatever they have, and we just tweak it a little bit. I give you an example. For success, when I talk to people about success and ask them what success means, we know that success is different for different people. But in general, people say that when I reach my goal, I'm successful. So that is the definition of success that they tell me. And I tell them, with that definition, you are miserable most of the time, because you're not in that point that you reached your goal, right? So most of your life, you're miserable with this definition. So let's change it. We're going to change it like this: success is moving toward a worthy goal with joy. So when we say that we are moving towards a goal, it means whatever action that we have that helps us to move forward toward our goal, when we are in that position, we are successful. So we can be successful most of our life. So which one do you choose? You can choose the first definition or the second definition, and it determines your life. So, and there are other definition as well. So for example, for life itself, some people say life is hard. Life is like hostile. We are living in a hostile universe. So I tell them, when we have that kind of belief, what happens? We are noticing the hostility in life more and more, because our attention determines what we experience. In my book, I have an example that four people are passing from a road. It's a crossroad, and the first one is someone who is in the car business, in the car dealership, and he is noticing all the cars that are passing by, their model, their color, their shape, and the price, everything. He's analyzing the cars that are passing on the road. And the second person is someone who is a builder, so he is looking at the buildings. There's a crack on one that can be fixed, the other one can be remodeled, and so he is focusing on the buildings that is in that crossroad. And the third person is a lady who is in fashion business, and she is noticing people, what they are wearing, the shoes that they are wearing, the clothes, the colors, if they're fashionable or not. So she's noticing that. And the fourth person is someone who had an argument in the office with his boss. So he's not seeing anything in that crossroad. He is in his mind still arguing with his boss, analyzing whatever discussion that they had and stuff. Four people are crossing the road, and they are seeing the four different scenarios, the four different things. So the things that we have are filters: the beliefs, the experiences, the emotions, whatever we have inside are filters. We look at life through those filters. So if I say that life is hostile, what happens? I see the hostility in life. I see the hardness. But if I change my definition, if I say that life is the best friend that I've ever had, It means that if there is something delivered to me that I don't like, I mean that, as I said, it's a gift in an ugly paper. So we feel better, and we can prove that because all of us had those experiences that some people say call it a blessing in disguise. Something that happened in the past, it was very hard, and now that when you look at it, you see that that was a life-changing experience for you. So we all know that everything that we experience, even if we don't know the value now, we will find out later. So we can develop that kind of perspective that life is my friend and it changes everything.
Wow, so true. Thank you so much. I love the analogy about being life being a friend, and the friend brings with it something, a gift. And you said some gifts are in an ugly paper. Of course, you don't recognize it at the beginning, but then it unfolds beautifully. And also, you said change the definition, and you talked about goals, right? The definition of goals, that, or success. You talked about success. It's not when you reached your goal, it is the journey we can enjoy, and every progress we make, like 1% per day or something like that. So my next question is about your goals. Do you set goals for yourself or intentions, and what is one of your goals for 2024?
Yeah, of course, I set goals for myself because if we don't have goals, what happens is that it is like going to a car and start driving, but not knowing where you want to go. So you go on a circle, you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up in the land of nowhere. So we need to have goals. And my perspective towards goals are a little bit different because as soon as we start setting a goal, the resistance comes. Why? Because it's like a train that is going south, and I'm in that train, and I decide to go north. And I start walking towards north in the train. Where do I end up? Of course, south, because the train is going south. So our subconscious mind has brought us to here, to this point. What is subconscious mind? All the pictures that we have, the self-image that we have, all the programming, all the beliefs, the habits, the emotions, all of those are within us, has brought us up to this point. Now, if I want to change the direction, it means I have to battle with my subconscious mind. And subconscious mind says that you don't need to do anything. Just sit down and relax. There's danger. I don't want you to go through that danger. Danger, danger. So it says that I'm protecting you. Subconscious mind is like a bodyguard, wants to protect us. So doesn't want us to do anything spectacular. It's just slow and steady, do the things that is safe for us, something like that. So when we start setting a goal, we face a resistance. Sometimes it's the fear of success. Sometimes it's fear of failure, fear of change. A lot of things can happen. So we have to know how to deal with those kind of situations because consciously we know what is good for us, the goals and the aspirations, but we just set a bunch of goals, and then as we start going through them, we notice that it's not easy. There are barriers, there are resistance. So we might give up. Or even if we don't give up, we go through that goal with hustle and grind. That is what everybody says, that if you want to reach your goal, you have to go through the hustle and grind. Otherwise, it's not possible. So that's what we do. And we become a wounded warrior at the end. What I mean is, we might win the war, win the battle but lose the war. I see a lot of successful people on the outside is everything is perfect. They have lots of money, lots of possessions, lots of fame and success, but on the inside they are empty. They are not happy. On the inside they have health problems. They have relationship problems. Why? Because they are not aligned with their goal. Alignment is very important. You have to be aligned from your conscious decisions to your subconscious mind and your heart desire and inspired actions. All of those should be aligned. Then we can move towards the success and enjoy the journey as well. Everybody says that you have to enjoy the journey. But when I'm constantly battling with myself, what is the enjoyment in that? So that is something very important, that we have to find a way to enjoy the journey of success. And that is coming with alignment. So what I do is when I set a goal for myself for this year or for the year after, I look at it from a different perspective. I say that I'm going to break this goal into smaller chunks in order to be able to do it. And then we know that those needle moving tasks help us to go and reach our goal, but they are called tasks. So soon as we start doing them, the resistance comes. So I changed the name from task to game, because we all enjoy playing games. It is programmed within us. We all enjoy playing games. So I changed the name from task to game, and then little games that I'm going to play to reach my goal. And then I have a 10-step process in my book, but I'm going to be summarizing it in 3 steps in here so everybody can remember that. So the 3 step is like this. The first one is game plan. So after I have those little games, before I go to sleep, I have those games listed in my head. I start thinking about the games that I want to play the next day. And so, as you know, before we go to sleep, our subconscious mind's guard is wide open because we are in the alpha state. What we usually do is all the concerns, all the fears, all the guilt and everything, we just impose everything into our subconscious mind before we go to sleep, and we wake up in the morning tired out. We haven't done anything yet, but we are tired because we programmed ourselves that way. So let's change it. Instead of putting all those bad information in there, I'm gonna think about the games that I want to play the next day. So that is the game plan. The second part is warm up. As soon as I wake up, before I even open my eyes, I start thinking about that game and playing that in my head. So it is like a mental rehearsal. I imagine myself in the game and playing and enjoying and winning and going on top of the podium and celebrating. I'm reviewing that in my head. It is called warm up. So that is the second part. And the third part is during the day, we just play the game. We programmed it 2 times. One is before we go to sleep. The second time is right after we wake up, because that is the second time that the guard for subconscious mind is wide open. So that is the second time. So the third time, which is playing, is going to be easy. Our subconscious mind is on board with us. So we can play that game. And we play those little games until we reach our goal. Yeah, it's a 3-step process, and I encouraged the listeners to try that. And if somebody tries that for a week and contact me, what I'm gonna give them is I'm going to give them something that supercharges that process for them.
That sounds amazing. So I will try it. I'm committed. I will do this 1 week and then I contact you and
Sure.
I'm happy. Oh, thank you so much. I'm happy about our interview. Please contact Farzin, but only if you did the exercise and then you receive something to enhance the process. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was our inspired podcast interview, and I see you in the next episode.
And the way that people can contact me is through my website. They can go to joyfulfix.com, and on the contact page, they can record their voice, or there is a free quiz that they can take, and just they can contact me through my website. It's easy and straightforward.
Thank you so much for mentioning. I put it in the show notes, of course. Click on the link, please. And I see you next time.